The scream cut through the airport like a blade. "Hey, don't touch me." Heads turned. Conversations stalled mid-sentence. The constant hum of rolling suitcases and boarding announcements seemed to pause as a young nurse stumbled backward near the security line, her scrubs wrinkled, her bag sliding from her shoulder. A man twice her size stood over her, red-faced and furious, his finger inches from her chest. What no one in that crowded terminal knew was that the woman he had just shoved once wore a uniform far heavier than Scrubs, and survived battles far deadlier than his rage. Her name was Emily Carter, and she had learned long ago that silence could be louder than shouting. Emily had been awake for nearly 24 hours. A double shift in the ER, a trauma code that ended in a loss, and a hurried drive to the airport had left her body aching and her mind numb. All she wanted was to get home, see her younger brother, and sleep without alarms or beeping monitors. She stood quietly in line, clutching her boarding pass, moving on muscle memory and exhaustion. The man behind her had no such patience. "Move," he snapped, slamming his carry-on into her heel. "I'm sorry," Emily said automatically, shifting forward though there was nowhere to go. The line stalled. The metal detector beeped for someone ahead. The man exhaled sharply, his frustration boiling over. "Are you deaf?" I said. "Move." "I can't," she replied softly. "We're waiting." That was when he grabbed her shoulder and yanked her aside. Gasps rippled through the crowd. A mother pulled her child closer. Someone raised a phone. The man's voice grew louder, uglier, fed by the attention. "You people think you own the place." Standing there like an idiot in pajamas. Emily steadied herself, breathing slowly, the way she had been trained to do under fire. Her hands trembled, not with fear, but with memory. Sand, heat, gunfire, orders shouted through chaos. She swallowed and met his eyes. "Let go," she said. He laughed. "Or what?" For a split second, Emily saw another man's face layered over his. A battlefield, a fallen friend, blood on her hands that no amount of soap had ever washed away. Her jaw tightened. She could hear her old drill instructor in her head: control first, power second. The bully tightened his grip instead. That was his mistake. Emily twisted her body just enough, breaking his hold with a precise movement so fast most people didn't understand what they'd seen. His wrist bent at an angle that forced a yelp from his throat. She didn't strike him. She didn't throw him. She simply immobilized him, using leverage, balance, and calm authority. The man dropped to his knees in shock. The terminal went silent. "Step back," Emily said, her voice firm now, steady as steel. "I don't want to hurt you." Security rushed forward, but they slowed when they saw the scene. The aggressor restrained, the nurse standing tall, eyes focused, posture unmistakably trained. "What happened here?" one guard demanded. Before the man could lie, witnesses spoke up. A woman near the front said, "He attacked her." Another added, "She tried to walk away." Phones lowered, heads nodded. The bully's face burned with humiliation. "She assaulted me," he protested weakly. Emily released him immediately and stepped back, hands raised. "I defended myself. That's all." As security escorted the man away, one of the guards looked at Emily more closely. "Ma'am," he said, lowering his voice, "where did you learn to do that?" Emily hesitated, then answered quietly, "U.S. Marine Corps, 8 years. Something shifted in the air. Respect replaced curiosity. A few people clapped softly, not for the takedown, but for the restraint. Emily gathered her bag, her hands shaking now that the adrenaline faded. She found a seat near the gate and sat down, staring at the floor. She hadn't wanted attention. She hadn't wanted to remember. A young girl approached her, tugging on her mother's sleeve. "Mommy," she whispered loudly, "is she a superhero?" Emily smiled faintly. "No," she said, "just someone who learned how to stand up without becoming the thing she's fighting." When she boarded the plane later, a flight attendant paused when she saw Emily's scrubs and the faint scars along her forearm. "Rough day?" she asked gently. Emily nodded, but it ended okay. As the plane lifted into the sky, Emily looked out the window, watching the city shrink below. She thought about the man at the airport, not with anger, but with sadness. She had seen that kind of rage before, in places far worse than an airport terminal. She knew where it led if left unchecked. She also knew the power of choosing control over cruelty. Emily went home that night not as a hero in headlines, but as something far stronger, a reminder that true strength isn't loud, isn't cruel, and doesn't seek applause. It protects, endures, and knows when to stop. And in a world where bullying often goes unanswered, one quiet nurse proved that courage, discipline, and humanity can still shock everyone, without throwing a single punch.